Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is a little different. I wanted to talk about my 5 palettes that are still on my wish list from 2024. These are the palettes that still haunt me. I still have a FOMO of these palettes for getting into my collection. If you have any of these palettes and you absolutely love it, then do let me know. Help this girl decide, out of this 5 palettes, do I need all 5 or do I need just 1 or 2, or do I not need any because there's so many things coming in our collection. So if you want to see what are my 5 palettes that I still am eyeing from 2024, then please keep on watching. In no particular order, I am going to talk about the palettes. These are all from the indie brands that I absolutely love and adore. There's no high-end or drugstore palettes here. All 5 indie brands. Let's start off with Unearthly Cosmetics. From Unearthly Cosmetics, there's only one palette, and I'll tell you the reason why it's not in my collection. Why am I still eyeing it? From Unearthly Cosmetics, the palette that is still on my wish list is the Noctornal remastered palette. Okay, hear me out. When it was earlier released, it was a 12-pan palette. Now it is an 18-pan eyeshadow palette, and I feel like they included the shades, those purples and those grungy tones on the right. And okay, let me scoot so that you can also see the palette what I'm talking about. So when I see this, the extreme right, like 2 columns with those purpley, mauvey, dusty purple and those shimmers are the ones that's calling out to me. Rest of the palette, it's really pretty. Again, if you guys don't know me, I am not a big green wearer. I'm not wearing any eyeshadow right now just because I'm a big eyeshadow palette fanatic, by the way. If you know my channel, you know that. I'm just not wearing it right now because I have to just record another video after this. So I thought I'll just clear this over and then we'll go into the eye looks. Okay, going back into the Not Normal Remastered. I feel like $62 is a good price point. I absolutely love Unearthly Cosmetics palette. I have one right in front of me, like my absolute favorite from them, the Just Taste palette. This palette has a lot of greens. I'm not a green wearer. It has, I at least can see like 5 shades of greens. I'm a big purple person, and those are the shades that are like intriguing me. I love that like murky, like, you know, that pukey kind of shade. I love that. I love the 2 columns in the right. Even that green that is there in the extreme right column, even that I feel like it's so pretty with that lilac that is right under it, and the shimmers all look so pretty. You guys let me know if you do have this palette, and if you're not a green lover, do let me know if you like this palette or not. Yeah, I want someone who doesn't like green to tell me if you love this palette or not. Then I will consider it. Or if it is like on a heavy discount, then I'll definitely consider it for sure. But yes, that is what is like calling out to me from Unearthly Cosmetics. The second palette that I want to talk about, it's actually not a new palette. I mean, it's a revamp palette again. It's from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. I'm a proud affiliate of Glaminatrix Cosmetics. This is the only palette that I do not own from them. And this is the Nocturnal Mini palette. They came out with the normal Nocturnal palette, which was like in full size. I love that they're coming out with a mini version. This palette retails for $38, which is not bad at all. But again, I felt like that palette was too colorful for me. But I also know there are a lot of people who's like, this is like their favorite palette from them. And I love Glaminatrix palettes in general. I absolutely love it. The Night Vision shade is definitely a green. Murky, that is like, you know, that it's like a melt green, if you know what I mean. Even that Fog, Gloom, all those like yellowy greeny kind of shade. I do have the Melt Gemini palette, and that's why I was like, do I need it? Because I feel the same vibes out of this palette, but obviously with like beautiful shimmers thrown in, because I don't like melt shimmers that much. And I do have so many other palettes in my collection. That's why I was like, burgundy. If I look at each shade individually, I'll be like, yeah, do you have all these shades? I probably can like dupe this palette in 5 minutes, okay? But when I look at this palette, it still like gives me those feels, and I feel like I'm missing out on something. If you do have this palette and if you know my collection, let me know. if I need this palette or not. Let's move on to the third palette, and this is from Fantasy Cosmetica. And this is not that I did not want this or anything. I was eyeing this, and this palette, when it was revealed, my meeting was going on, and I was talking in that meeting, and I was like, okay, I will get it as soon as this meeting is over in office. My meeting was over. I went to their website. The palette was out of stock. Okay. I cannot be blamed here. I love the color story of Fantasy Cosmetica Harvest of Souls palette. I felt like this palette is so geniusly curated. I feel like those quads, when I see those quads, that screams uniqueness to me. But also this palette has a lot of grains. I feel like it has a lot of grains. That is the thing that is like pulling me a little away, that Smithy, are you gonna wear it? Like those sagey greens, I'm so sure that I can get it from like my Unearthly palettes. I do have these shades individually, but I do love Fantasy Cosmetica. Or should I wait it out? Wait it out for some other palette. But this palette was in like number 1 and 2 for so many influencers, which I absolutely love and adore, right? And this palette is $55. It's still out of stock. So I still have time to think about it. The more I think about it, that is when I'll be like, you know, Smithy, you have this. It's too colorful. Are you going to wear it? These are the things that pop into my mind. But I know the people who have Harvest of Souls palette absolutely love it. And I'm missing out on it. Do let me know, okay? The next palette, the fourth palette that we have to talk about, is from Adept Cosmetics, and this is the Unity palette. When it was initially launched or revealed, I felt like, yes, it's a neutral palette, and I absolutely love their Flying Fiddles palette so very much. And it felt like it's going to be a similar formula to the Flying Fiddles palette, but I feel like this palette, I feel it's too monochromatic. Do you feel that way? I feel like you will definitely get like those pinky, champagne-y kind of looks. And you have like that pop of green, which I could care less about. And I do not wear so many like yellow golds. But then I was like on the verge of buying it on a sale. And then I saw their Minka, the revamped Minka that's going to come in this February. I think it's like it's their Valentine's Day release. That has very, very similar shades, at least the shades that I am liking from the Unity palette. It is definitely there in the new revamp palette, or the vibes are there. I'm not saying that it's dupe by any means. And that palette I'm definitely buying, because that screams to me. I feel like that I'll definitely miss out on if I do not get that. So that's the only thing that I am like thinking, do I really need this? I know that I would love it, but I'm like, all those shimmers, I am not that big fan of their mattes, especially in the Unity palette. I love the Flying Fiddles matte. But when I look at the shimmers, I'm like, just wait it out for the Minka revamped Minka palette, and you might have the same kind of shades. That's what my mind is telling me. And this palette is $52. So I would say it's a little bit on the pricier side too. I think I should just wait out on, I think I should just wait out on the revamped makeup palette. The last palette that I am eyeing, like I feel like I go to their website every week to check on this palette. And I really, really like this palette. And this is from Beaute Bar. And this is the Poison Garden palette. Now, like the Fantasy Cosmetica palette, this palette, Poison Garden palette, was in so many people's like number 1, number 2 palette ranking for 2024. And I am like, just give me a sale, Beaute Bar. This would be in my cart. I really love the vibes of it. I feel like I will get some uniqueness out of this palette. When it was initially like revealed, amongst the other palettes, I had bought a lot of palettes in my collection. That's the only reason why I did not get it that time. Plus also the shimmers, I felt like they're all like either mid-tone to deep shimmers, and there were not like very many like light shimmers in the palette. And I do like a lighter shimmer on my eyelid. But the mattes look absolutely lovely. I think out of the 5 palettes that I'm talking today, I feel like I'm most interested in the Poison Garden palette, just because those tones are very, very unique. You guys let me know, out of these 5 palettes, which one would you recommend me getting it? If you know my collection, I have already done like a like an eyeshadow palette collection and a declutter video already on the channel, so I'll link it in the icons above for you guys. Do let me know if you know my vibes. I like muted colorful tones. I like a neutral tone. I also like grungy tones, not too loud, not too neon-y. That's what I love the most about it. So you guys let me know, out of these 5 palettes, which one would I love the best that you feel? Sound it down in the comment section below. But that's all for today. If you did like my video, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.